We are continuing with our lessons on how to add and subtract integers. Today we're going to learn a little different way, a little more hands-on way of adding and subtracting integers. We're going to start with an easy one, 3 plus 8. We probably don't need to use these counters to evaluate 3 plus 8. Hopefully we all know that 3 plus 8 gives us 11. But I want to start with this one so that we can kind of see how the counters work and go from there. So 3 plus 8, 3 means that I need 3 positive counters. And you should be working along on your desk as I'm doing it here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 positive counters. And anytime I'm adding, so the first set that we do, the first 5, are all going to be additions. So when I add, that means that I also need 8 positives. So I needed 3 positives. I also need 8 positives. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we had 3 positives, we added on 8 positives, and we can count those up. 3 plus 8 gives us a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 positives, 11 positives, so our answer is 11. Easy enough. All right, so let's take a look at one that has some negatives in there. So negative 8. Negative 8 tells me we need 8 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 negatives, and then I also need 6 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I took 8 negatives. I also need 6 positives. The problem is I've got both positives and negatives. So what we do is if I have positives and negatives, one positive and one negative makes 0. So these two together cancel each other out. So I'm going to move those off to the side. Oops, I copied them. Whoops, now I'm turning them. There we go. Move them off to the side. These two cancel each other out. These two cancel each other out, and so on. So I match them up, positives and negatives, and cancel them out. And notice when I cancel out all my positives and negatives, I'm not left with any more positives, but I do have 2 negatives here. Notice negative 8 plus 6 gives us negative 2. I'm left with 2 negatives. Now let's try another one. Negative 3 plus 11. Negative 3 plus 11. So negative 3 tells me I need 3 negatives. I also need 11 positives. So there's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 positives. So we grabbed 3 negatives, we grabbed 11 positives, we have everything that it's asking for here. And then remember, if I have positives and negatives, I need to match them up and cancel them out. So those two match, these two match, these two match. And I can cancel each of, I can cancel each of those out. So remember, our rule last class was if I have 1 positive and 1 negative, remember I subtracted, I did 11 minus 3. The reason we subtract is because those things are canceling out when I have some positives and some negatives. And I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positives. Remember, we also said the sign of the answer was the same as the sign of the bigger number. The reason for that is because once they all cancel out, whichever I had more of should be the sign of my answer. Negative 3 plus 11 leaves us with 8. Negative 4 plus negative 6. -4 plus -6. So -4 tells me I need 4 negatives. 2, 3, 4. Plus, I also need 6 negatives. So anytime we add, we're also grabbing whatever this says. Notice I don't have anything to cancel out. These are all negatives, so I've got my answer. I just count them up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have a total of 10 negatives. -10 is correct. If we were to do this the way we did last class, we would do -9 plus -4 plus a negative plus a minus next to each other. Remember, we changed that to minus. And then we said if they're both negative, -4 and -6, they're both negative, we added 4 plus 6 to get 10. And then because they were both negative, we said -10. Notice if I have negatives and negatives, I'm going to add to get the total number of negatives that I need. I'm going to skip number 5 for now. This is the one I wanted. -1 plus -5. -1 plus -5. So -1. This one's actually pretty similar to the last one. Let's change it a little bit. Let's do +1 plus -5. So +1. I need 1 positive. Plus, I also need 5 negatives. 2, 3, 4, and 5. This time we do have some positives and negatives, so we need to cancel out. This positive and this negative cancel, and I am left with 4 negatives. -4 is correct. So all the ones we've done thus far have been addition. Let's take a look at some subtraction. Again, 7 minus 4, you can do 7 minus 4 without the counters. Let's practice with the counters so we kind of understand the mechanics of it. So this is +7, so I need 7 positive ones. And there's my 7 positives. Minus means take away, so I'm taking away 4 positive ones. So I realize this says -4, so it's looking like the 4 is negative. But remember, we're thinking about the minus sign means take away 4. So I had 7. I need to take away 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm left with 3, which makes sense. If I have 7 of something, I take away 4, I'm left with 3. All right, let's take a look at one that's a little more difficult. 4 minus 9. I have 4. And I need to take away 9. The problem is I don't have 9 of them to take away. So if I have 4 and I need to take away 9, I need to make it so I have 9 that I can take away. So what we can do is I can add both a positive and a negative. Remember, those things cancel out. So now I have 5 positives that I could take away. Another plus and a minus, those would cancel out. Notice I still have the 4 I started with. It's just these cancel and these cancel. And I want to get up so I have a total of 9 that I could take away. So notice now, I still have 4 and all these match up and cancel. But now I have 9 that I could take away. I'm taking away the 9 positives. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we started with 4, we took away 9 positives, and notice I'm left with 5 negatives. 4 minus 9 gives us negative 5. Let's take a look at this one. Negative 6 minus 2. Negative 6 minus negative 2. So I need to start with negative 6. That's a positive one. So I started with my 6 negatives. Minus means take away 2 negatives. I had negative 6. I need to take away 2 negatives. I do have 2 negatives that I can take away, and I'm left with negative 4. Notice the way we did this previously. Minus, minus next to each other, we changed to plus. If I had negative 6 and then adding 2 does give me that negative 4. 1 positive, 1 negative, so I subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4. Bigger number was the 6 negative, so negative 4. Let's try negative 3 minus 5. Negative 3 minus 5. So negative 3. I need 3 negatives. Minus means take away. I need to take away 5 positives. I don't have 5 positives. So I need to create 5 positives over here so that I can take them away. So I need to not only move positives over, but I need to move over a negative as well so that it cancels out with that previous one. So I have those two. Got those two. Those two cancel. Those two cancel. And I needed a total of 5 positives to take away. So I started with my negative 3. Now I have 5 positives that I can take away. Taking my 5 positives away. And notice we get our answer of negative 8. Negative 8 is correct. That is it for today's notes. We will have a couple other activities that we do for the remainder of class.